And muted the ad. Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH. This is the Ramsey Show Aftershow show. Fun story for you. Those of you that are younger might not be familiar with. If you look in the chat, you'll see I'm talking about the greatest American hero because Sid said something about It's Just Me, and that reminded me of the song Believe It or Not, It's Just Me. And that was from the, late 80s? Somewhere in there. Can't remember that. So, Greatest American Hero was a show about a teacher, and he was like on a field trip in the desert, and aliens came down and gave him a super suit to help humanity. The suit gave him superpowers. It would only work for that guy. And of course, walking out of the desert, he dropped the instruction book. So he doesn't know what powers he has or how to do them. And so he has to learn that on the job. He gets somehow matched up with the FBI agent, and the FBI agent basically near the beginning of every episode says, "All right, Ralph, grab the super suit, let's go." And so it was pretty fun. His name was in the show was Ralph Hinckley, and they changed it to Hanley after what was his name? John Hinckley shot President Reagan. So that was during that time. Yeah, I think that was late 80s. Yeah, late 80s. Late 80s. And we know that because Ronald Reagan was president, and we remember that because that was in Back to the Future. Because Doc from 1955 asked him who was the president, and he said Ronald Reagan. So, all right. So, fun story. Once again, I am to get into the meat of the show now. Oh, I was didn't stream yesterday. I was sick. All but 2 hours I was in bed yesterday. Just sore throat and just overall feeling bad. I thought it might be the flu, but like completely bounced back today. So thank goodness for that. What up, Di? Once again, Coach Steve Money, Ramsey Solutions, certified financial coach. And if you'd like my other financial content, you just go where you're watching this on youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. Go past the Oak Island playlist, and you'll see the Ramsey Show Aftershow show and the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist. And I might do a weekend stream. That would be what time? Oh, let's make it 4 o'clock. If I do it, it'll be 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday or Sunday. More likely on Sunday. So that's a possibility that would happen. Also, the music playlist where there are 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. Listen to those if you are so inclined. Market report. And hey, all up today. Awesome. Can't go wrong with that. Most up today, NASDAQ, S&P 500 only, people. Keep checking it every day and see how much more the NASDAQ is generally making every single day. Again, you can go, let's go back with the last year, 26.53% for the S&P 500. The last 1 year, and NASDAQ 32.14. So that would be more, wouldn't it? Was it 26.73 and what was that? Yeah, 32. So that's, that's 5% more, dog. And so if you want to leave that on the table, that's fine with me, but don't say I didn't try to talk you into at least getting some NASDAQ in addition to your S&P 500. And of course, the you have managed large cap funds that even beat the NASDAQ, such as mine have done for the past 2 years. And so leaving money on the table, just doing S&P 500 index fund, even after you take out, because they make more money even after you take out the higher expense ratio. 109% over the last 5 years for NASDAQ. Not as much, 80%. So you're leaving 20 over the last 5 years, leaving 20% on the table by just doing S&P 500 if you are doing that. And so check out the rest of the planet. Everything up in Europe, good for them. Mostly down in Asia. Let's see what the US dollar is doing, up against the euro, up against the yen, up against the British pound, low, up against the Canadian dollar, sorry, and up against the Australian dollar, mate. Australia wanted to be higher, but the United States said no. You gotta put for some reason, when you're done saying no, you have to put your mouth in the R shape, and so you get a little hint of the R. NAO-R, kind of. Nair. It's weird. I don't know why they talk like that. Anyway, different places talk differently. Futures all up for Monday, so we'll see what happens Monday. Anything can happen between now and Monday. So we don't know, but up is better than down always. I didn't want to do that. Let's see what we got coming up on, let's see, today. SLB, I don't know what that is. Prologis, I don't know what that is either. Sounds like a tech company. Netflix, United Airlines, Capital One, reporting on the 21st, so that'll be a big day. In Caterpillar, reporting on the 30th. They make, of course, the industrial excavators and such like that. Heavy equipment manufacturer, I believe, is how you would refer to them. So we've got some news. Intel shares jump on report. It's an acquisition target. So if you're going to buy Intel, you got a lot of money. And so it is possible to be a company that has enough money to do that and not really be on the radar. So it could be something that some company we haven't heard of. But I mean, for you to buy Intel, you got a couple dollars in your pocket. Let's just say that. So yeah, it doesn't say who it is in the story. I skimmed it, of course. Got some crypto news. That's from CNBC. Crypto world, party time, excellent. It's a reference to Wayne's World kids, and that's also, I think that's early 90s. Bitcoin gains as Trump reportedly plans crypto executive order. And so, all right. And so I don't know what POTUS elect is planning for that, but and apparently all the kids are very excited about it. It is up today 4.15%, and the kids are all excited about it, the crypto bros. But I don't think the government's starting to, they've already started regulating it, and so the more the government gets their hands into it, I think it's going to be, less desirable, you would think. But we'll see. Does it have... No, it doesn't. No, this is not... who is it? Oh, gosh. I can't remember who it is. That one of the news companies has like a synopsis of the article. But let's just see what it says. Making crypto a national priority. Yeah, but a priority he's going to do what with? that Trump could create the Crypto Advisory Council he previously promised. Yeah, and what do you think they're going to do except get involved with it more? Probably in ways that you don't want, because generally when government gets involved with stuff, they screw stuff up, i.e. healthcare. Bitcoin stockpile. So I guess the government would buy a lot with what? Aren't we running a deficit at the moment? Don't we have a big national debt? What are you going to buy that with? So none of that sounds like a good idea to me, but I don't get to make such decisions. They do not call me. President-elect Trump does not call me for a consultation when considering executive orders. Which ones have you done, Coach? How long ago was that? 5 minutes ago? I don't remember what I was talking about when you said which ones have you done. Sorry about that. I have to turn my neck all the way this far to see the chat. I apologize. I will endeavor to make a better system so I should be able to just look that far and see it. And I did the way I had it set up previously, but here at the new apartment, I don't have it set up as well. Let's get into questions. This is from OK Assistant 7024. I need help. All right, let's see what we got. Hi, I'm 20. Hi, guys. I'm 20 years old and have made some financial decisions that I'm trying to improve, and we've all been there. And at 20 is a better time to fix it than waiting till you're already old like I did, not advised. So you're doing well by even thinking about it at this point. I'm looking for advice on how to manage my finances, address my debts, and a plan for the future. Here's my situation. Okay, so a lot of people get stuck on this part and just don't take the initiative to just start the baby steps, because it's all right here. It doesn't matter what any of this says as far as what the numbers are. You still do the baby steps and is still in this order. So that would be the dealio on that. But let's take a look at it. Perhaps list expenses, and we can say what to cut out, which is everything that's not 100% necessary. Let's see, checking account, that's not that much, so I'll assume needs that to pay upcoming expenses. I mean, if that's extra money, then that goes to whatever baby step you're on. 1, 2, or 3. I'm assuming step 2 since you have debt, probably. Savings $9.84. At that point, it's why bother, but I mean, you can keep the account open. But theoretically, that money would be going to, other than the $1,000. So you should have the $1,000 emergency fund. That is step 1. There are some things in step 0, like budgeting and making sure you have your 4 walls, like things that are necessary to live. All that's part of step 0. Let's see, credit card debt, $429. Okay, and so that, I mean, 20 years old, that's the beauty of attacking it early, because you've gotten to the problem, figured out the problem before it gets away from you. Auto loan debt, $24,000, and you would just sell that car and get a beater. Medical debt, $200, and credit score 600. Doesn't matter. We don't use that for anything except borrowing money, which we're not going to do. And if you want to buy a house later, you can do that with manual underwriting. No credit score necessary. Let's see if, which ones have I done? Oh, the S&P 500. S&P 500 is an index fund. Mr. Ramsey recommends managed mutual funds instead of indexes, because they can make more than the index. And there's quite a few of them that make more than the index. But, if you cannot pick good ones, or you can't pay an advisor to guide you in doing that, then SP 500 is certainly better than nothing. And that's why I again bring up the fact that, why wouldn't you at least do 50-50 between S&P 500 and the NASDAQ? Of course, they are both going to have some of the same companies in them. But yeah, why wouldn't you do both? At least a 50-50 split, because over the last 15 years, this past one is the same. So probably over the last 16 years, the NASDAQ has beaten S&P 500 13 of them, 13 out of 16. So, but managed mutual funds are what Mr. Ramsey recommends for retirement. You can use an index fund for saving for a purchase, such as a down payment, or to start a business, to buy property. Mr. Ramsey uses an S&P 500 index fund to put all his money in that's for real estate properties, and he just lets it sit there and grow until he finds a great deal for him. So yeah, let's see. That's what I was asking about, right, is what you invest your money in. Right. I do. I'm not an investment advisor, so I don't tell people individual investments. But there are plenty of managed funds that do beat the index, and so you can do that. But there's two things on that. Every once in a while, you may have to change out a managed fund, because it may stop beating the index, and so you do have to keep an eye on it. But generally, you're not going to pick one that doesn't have a long track record of beating the index, and so it generally will not stop beating the index. But if it does, you may have to switch it out for a different one. So it's not like I buy the S&P 500 fund and that's all I'm investing in, and I don't have to think about anything else ever again. And yeah, that's fine, and you still have more money than people that don't have any investment, for sure. But you are leaving a lot of money on the table. As I said, 20% at least, and maybe more over the last 5 years, if you are just in that S&P 500 index fund. And so you're leaving 20% on the table if you don't also have an equal share of NASDAQ. And then the managed funds make even more than the NASDAQ, so that's even more than 25%. I'm saying over the last 5 years, I think I have made about 27% or so more than the NASDAQ has made. And that's even after you take out the higher expense ratio. Because they're managed funds, you do have to pay the people that manage it. And so S&P 500 index fund is based just on the index itself, so that doesn't require managing, because that's just a direct reflection of the market. So yeah, so like I said, I just give the general advice, same as Mr. Ramsey. He doesn't give actual fund names either. Supposedly he is going to do that on the new investing live stream. It's a course, and you do have to pay for it. So, I mean, the way they say it could be because they said his exact investing advice, or the exact way that he does it, but that doesn't again necessarily mean that he's going to tell you the names of what funds to buy, because he doesn't do that. That's not what a financial coach does. That would be an investing professional that does that. Let's see, but anybody can learn. I learned it. I didn't do anything except listen to. I Googled and YouTube searched Dave Ramsey investing, and I listened to every clip, and he tells you exactly what to look for in these mutual funds. And so you can just go to a good place to compare those is morningstar.com. Excuse me. And yep, forgot my water. I knew I'd forget, so I remembered everything else. Remembered the camera. Remembered to get all of the tabs ready. They're in the right spot. The Reddit page was in the right spot for the next question, but I forgot my water. Where was I? Yeah, so it's just basically he on all the clips he gives the general advice of what to look for, and so I just look for that stuff, and I didn't have any problem finding funds that beat the index, and neither did Sid the Kid. Is a SmartVestor Pro an investment advisor? Yes, yes it is. And if you do, unfortunately, because there are some SmartVestor Pros whose halos slip and they get vetted, they answer all the questions correctly, but then when they get back in their own home state or city or wherever they are and start getting the referrals, at that point, they then start doing stuff that makes them the most money instead. Or is most easiest for them, and a lot of times what that means is you end up in target date funds, which the older if you're older, that might be better. Depends on how old, how long until you retire. But the target date funds are very conservative, even if so. There's no way a 20-year-old, even a 30, even a 40-year-old should be in a target date fund. There's no reason. You need to be aggressive while you're younger. Now, if you were 2 or 3 years from retirement, yeah, a target date fund, you might want to be in that because that is much more conservative and like would have bonds in it and such like that, which David does not recommend because it's not aggressive enough. It's not making enough money. All right, so continue with this question. Where are we? We didn't care about credit score. Current income $38,500 a year. 24.28 a month after taxes. Projected income, okay, that's great. Well, that doesn't matter for right now, and it doesn't even matter for April if you don't get it. So the raise expected doesn't matter. So we leave that to the wayside and we work with what we have. Now, if you actually do get the raise, then you can factor that in. Split with girlfriend, okay. What is it? Okay, assistant 7024. Okay. So I guess this is, for some reason I thought this was a young lady. Apparently it's a young man, maybe. You never know. You never know. But shacking up is not advised. Is that rent? That is rent. So, I mean, I guess, roommates or whatever, but and, girlfriend could just be a friend that's a girl. We don't know. At this point, we don't know. But I would, delve into all that if this were my client. Car payment $450, and like I said, you sell the car. Insurance, phone, credit card, etc. $900. So that's, well, that's shouldn't really go all in the same because one's debt and one is like your phone's an expense. Insurance is an expense. Now, phone can also be a debt if you've financed the freaking phone. Groceries, $200 a month. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all for one person. Total fixed expenses, $2,000 per month. And that's the problem because that gives whoever, less than $400 extra each month to tackle everything. So that means you got this etc. here. We got to get rid of that. We got to get rid of the $450 car payment, excuse me. And then that will give you more money. So you're looking at less than $300. If you don't have the car payment anymore, then you're looking at an extra $700-ish. And there's probably other stuff we can cut as well. Let's see. But I've been overspending on eating out, which I know I need to cut back. And instead of cutting back, you cut it out entirely until you get to step 4. How about that? Do that. Car situation, okay. None of this matters. The advice is to sell it. Okay, you're going to say, when I was younger, I made a poor financial decision with a car. Sure. Totaling it, great. With no insurance and gap coverage issue. Yeah, so again, the credit score, we don't give a crap about that. We don't care about rebuilding the credit. Doesn't matter. If you're going to follow this advice, you don't need to care about it because it will not affect you. Last year, still doing dumb stuff last year, should not have financed the 2024 Hyundai Venue, so sell it. Hopefully, since it's so new, it's not underwater. I don't love the car, but it was the best option at the time. No, it wasn't, given my credit situation. It currently has 15,000 miles. No, it wasn't. You could have bought a beater. No. I mean, that's the same, that's the same thing people do. They justify everything. And in this situation, this person was like, oh, I need a car, so I need to finance this 2024, this new car. I need to. No, you didn't need to. You chose to. You wanted to. So don't call it something that it's not. You don't need to go to justification station. We've all made mistakes. Now it's time to fix them. Girlfriend and I share this car, but it's challenging because of our busy schedules. We need a second vehicle. Or how about you just have the challenge and you just make it work? Or again, you sell that car and you buy two beaters, very, very cheap cars. My plan is to wait for my salary raise. Nope. You start on the baby steps immediately. You sell your car immediately and get a beater. Finance a second vehicle. That's a no. Part of baby step 0, which we talked about briefly, is that you decide you're going to pay off your dumb, stupid debt, and you're not going to take out any more dumb, stupid debt. And also, so if that's your girlfriend that needs her own car, hey, guess what? She can buy her own car with her money. So if you wanna combine finances, great. Get married. The kids like to add the at the end. Any word. Transfer the venue's payments to my girlfriend. No. But I'm worried about selling her with high payment. Yeah, that's a no. No financing. You don't have to wait for the salary raise. You sell your car. See, people don't think like this. They do not think like this. That it never occurs to this person that, oh, I could just undo the stupid crap I did last year and sell this car and get a beater. Concerns and questions, all right? Are there better options for dealing with this debt? Refinancing, selling. Oh, so you did think about it. So, yes. You got it. I mean, there shouldn't have been all this before that. But people are nutty, as we know. As we repeatedly learn every day, and you try not to be surprised by it, but you're still surprised by it. Debt management. You don't manage it, you pay it off. How can I improve my credit score? We don't give a crap about that. Long-term planning. How can we balance our current? Okay, so first get to baby step 4, and then we'll worry about long-term planning. You have no bandwidth for doing long-term planning. You need to be focused on the short-term planning. You're 20 years old, still a baby. You got plenty of time to plan out your future. You don't have to plan it all out right now, especially when you're doing it wrong already. And so you need to fix that first. Oh, great. Hold on. I could really use some advice to set my mind at ease. Thank you. I want to just clear one thing up in capital letters. It doesn't say edited. So didn't edit it out with that. I guess just came to his mind later and was mad about it. I don't know. A lot of people are saying it doesn't say edited. Normally it says edit if they edit it. So, okay. A lot of people are saying to buy my girlfriend a car. What? People should not be saying that in the Dave Ramsey subreddit. So that would be a no. Oh, which I agree. Saying not to, maybe, because saying to buy a car, my girlfriend a car, it's not to buy a. So you got to type it right first. Which I agree. She will take over the payments on my current car. That's a no too. You sell the car, so neither of you has those payments. The idea is to get rid of the payments. Are you not familiar with Dave Ramsey? He's the no debt guy. I appreciate all the feedback. Great. Well, from that phrasing, it seems like all the feedback may have gone in one ear and out of the other, but you never know. Maybe he's doing it correctly now. Who knows? But yeah, you do the baby steps. And you don't, if you bought a new car, that was dumb, but you're not locked into it. People think they're locked into stuff like that. Or they just don't want to, old car might break down more, might end up causing more overall. Yeah, tough crap. You buy a beater car. Certainly have a mechanic look at it before you buy it. Let's see. That says, thank you for explaining. I need to get with a Smart Vista Pro to see if my investments are the best. I have 401k and IRA. Well, you can look at the, if you look at them and you see what the, what it made in the last, year, it should have made at least 26.53%. If it didn't make that, it's bad investments. And I mean, this is the bare minimum. As you can see, there are some funds that make more than that. Like this made 32.14, the NASDAQ. And so that's going to be tech heavy, and that's a large cap fund. But that's what you compare yourself, basically, S&P 500, and you want it to average out of all the years, you want it to average 10 to 12% like the S&P 500 does. Granted, past 2 years, outliers because it's made a lot of money in the past 2 years. And as I said, in over a 5-year time span, so if you can look at that as well, the S&P 500 has made 80% over the past 5 years. So you could divide that by 80 by 5 to get the average for that. And what is that? That's 15. That's like 17 something, I think. I can't do the math in my head right now. Can't do that and stream at the same time. And 110% over the last 5 years, almost 110, 109% for the NASDAQ over the last 5 years. So you would just divide that over. So, I mean, and that's all way, way more than averaging 10% per year, obviously. Because that's more like, that's over 20%, averaging over 20% per year from the NASDAQ. And so, but what the Ramsey advice is based on is the S&P 500 making 10 to 12. And of course, you want to beat that average per year. How to follow baby steps. Well, I have a song in my music playlist called How to Do the Baby Steps Right. And that tells you all the stuff to not do. Such as some people think they save the $1,000 emergency fund and then they use that money to pay off debt. That's not how you do that. Some people save up the $1,000 emergency fund and then they start to pay off debt. And they also put some money extra into the emergency fund, building it up. Like they think you have to do baby steps 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time or something like that. People are very confused. And so I will have forthcoming videos. I keep promising. I have been actually working on them recently, but I will have upcoming videos about the baby steps and things that people get wrong about it and the way they do it wrong. And, you know, if they're just looking at the baby steps list, even the Ramsey version of them, it doesn't really say on here, you do steps 1, 2, and 3, one at a time before moving on to a higher step. And like on step 4, 5, and 6, it doesn't say you do 4, 5, and 6 at the same time if all 3 are applicable to you. It also doesn't say you don't invest if you're doing step 1, 2, and 3. You stop all investing if you already are. See, it doesn't say that kind of stuff in there. So you do have to kind of pay attention because people look at the steps different ways. I would tend to think step 1, you do that and you don't do anything else until you finish that one. And then you put a check by that one, and then you go to the second one and you complete the list that way. You're not trying to look through and see, of course, people that have a mortgage already, they just want to look through and see. They don't want to be on a high, especially if they make a lot of money. They don't want to be on a lower step. So they just, I have a mortgage already, so I must be on step 6. But I haven't done this either. So I'll just do all of this all at the same time. And that makes it take longer to happen by doing it that way. So a lot of people doing it wrong. So let's see. How to follow baby steps. I am so sorry. 80, yeah, 16 per year. Okay, I was close. 17 was close on that. So, yeah, not retiring for 5 to 10 years. If you're not retiring for 10 years, I wouldn't recommend a target date fund, but that's up to you, how conservative you want to be. So you can talk with your Smart Investor Pro about that. And I mean, unfortunately, you have to know enough about it to know if they are putting you in crap investments, unfortunately. If they're telling you anything that's not Ramsey advice, when they know you've come from you, they got the referral from Dave Ramsey, then be on the lookout. And that's why you can interview more than one before you settle on one. You don't have to just pick the first one that calls you or that you call. All right, I am so sorry. My mouth is so dry. I'm going to grab a drink. I will be right back. All right, sorry about that. Not professional, adjusting the camera, having to get a drink. My many apologies. There we go. I'm back. Have $1,000 initial emergency fund, no debt, 2 cash paid for minivans, 6-month emergency fund, 20% down payment on a house. I am 3B. Is that right? Yeah, you're gonna save more for down payment or just put 20% down? Do I keep investing like in Baby Step 4 since I have my house down payment? Yeah, so if you're saving for down payment, your ratio between 3B and 4 is up to you. So, like, you can even probably the older you get, the less sense it makes, but you can even, like, if the kids today, if they can't live in their high cost of living city because they don't make high cost of living money, the way to be around that is to save up a larger down payment. And you can do that faster by not investing for a full 2 years, which Dave is fine with you doing, but only 2 years. If it's going to take longer than 2 years, he doesn't want you not investing. So the breakdown is up to you. If you want to save extra money to put more down payment, you can, or you can just stop at the 20 and keep investing and invest now 15% of gross to there. But you wouldn't invest any more than 15%. Instead, you would put any extra to pay off the house early once you get it. Yeah, should have the house paid off in 5 to 7 years. Fabulous. That's great. So let's see. How to follow the baby steps. Who is this? Away Construction 600. How to follow the baby steps. And I will tell you exactly how to do that. I'm a 22 man. I have approximately $75,000 in student loan debt. So you follow them by doing step 1 first. I don't know what other information. Let's read the question first, Steve, and then we'll find out maybe. 25K in government loans and 50 in refinance loans at this percentage rate. None of this matters. I don't need to make payments on the government loan. That doesn't matter. You would still pay it off. In grad school, or buy my work, and still maybe take some English courses, maybe in addition to grad school. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're in a grace period. You would still pay it off if you paid off all your other debt, all your lower debt amounts. Make $65,000 a year. Pre-tax from my job. My work has a 401k or Roth IRA with a 7% match, and you wouldn't take advantage of any of that. You don't do any investing until you are in step 4, my friend, and that would be how to do the baby steps right. And that's in that song as well, about people investing too early while they still have debt. That's a no. I currently live at home. That means with parents. Everybody says at home. Guess what? I'm at home too right now. And that is not with my parents. That is by myself. Because I'm an adult, and Mr. Ramsey likes adults to live on their own because it prepares them for the world. And have no rent relatives. Relatively, excuse me, not no relatives. Probably has relatives. Relatively low food expenses, and spend $200 to $250 per month on gas. So that's too much. I mean, 22 might be running the road, might be going here, there, and everywhere. Some people love to do that. Some people love to just drive constantly and go to places constantly. People love that. Or just may work for a large way, may work relatively far away from the parent's house. Also have 10K in high yield savings account. Yeah, you would take that out and pay off some of your dumb debt is what you would do. You have $1,000 in savings, just like the baby step says. $1,000. Start an emergency fund. Maybe step 2 is to pay off all the debt, so you don't have more than $1,000 in any type of savings, unless it's a sinking fund for a known upcoming expense. You don't have general savings or trying to be an investor bro by, I got to get my cash in something. I'll keep cash around and have savings. So basically you're debt leveraging by having student loans. Your debt leverage is allowing you to have a 10K high yield savings account. And so that is not the advice. So you're not following the baby steps that way either. I don't know the best way to use my money to pay off your debt is what the step you're on. That's how you use it. Your baby step 2. And so you use your money to do that. You don't debt leverage and keep debt around to have high savings or to have investments. You don't do that. That would be doing it incorrectly. And yeah, I know how to do the baby steps right isn't correct English either. It would be how to do the baby steps correctly, but That doesn't fit in with the song. That's too many syllables, so I chose right. Um, but I didn't know if I should be starting to save for a house or putting 7K a year into Roth IRA or any other suggestions. And this is what, Lord love them. The kids, they're so crazy. You got your rest of your life ahead of yourself. But even older people do this as well, where they want to do everything all at the same time. The steps are different steps because you do them at different times and you do them in a priority order. So, there's so many of these questions are, I have this debt that I do need to pay off, and it should be period right there, and they should look at the baby steps. Oh, that's step 2, so I shouldn't be doing any of this other crap that I'm thinking about. But they can't do that for some reason. But that's okay, because that keeps me with content, so I'm fine with it. So yeah, want to do everything all at the same time. So obviously pay off the debt, but they're trying to debt leverage it because they're saying, oh, it's in a pause or whatever, in a grace period. You don't have to pay now. Doesn't matter. You pay it off so that it doesn't, even after you're out of the grace period. So hopefully it's paid off by the time you get out of the grace period, and then that way there's no interest. Actually, there probably is interest growing still, even though you have a grace period. So that's not much of a grace period, is it? If you're still losing money to it. So the idea is to pay it off as quickly as possible. So you doing it, Ron. And it thought hitting the 7% company match, yeah, you can do that. That's wonderful once you get on step 4. So not yet. That's a no. Yes, you forego the 7% match. You don't debt leverage to do investing first. By keeping the debt around and investing, you don't do that, because that way, see, what you have is you're trying to fill a bucket, but the bucket has a hole in it. The hole is the student loans, the amount you already owe in the student loans, and the interest keeps falling out of a hole in the bucket, and you keep trying to pour sand into it. And so you're working against yourself there. So the idea is to fix the debt so that there's no hole, and so that all the money stays in there, and then you start investing. But you're doing it wrong. So you want to invest, you want the company match, you want to, I thought I should be hitting the 7% company match, then dumping all. Yeah, you don't go up to the match either and then do baby step 2. You don't do that. You put that 7% that you would have to put in to match it. That 7% goes to your debt. Sorry, you don't get to do that if you're following the baby steps. Everybody can do exactly what they want to with their money and their life. That's fine. I fully support that. But you're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit for some reason. So that's the Dave Ramsey advice. So, and then, I'm starting to save for a house. So you don't even think about that again until you're on baby step 3B. So you got some ways to go before you have all of those student loans pay off. Hopefully that's the only debt. Didn't talk about any other one. Hopefully those are plenty. 75K is plenty, especially on 65K. That's not that great a degree if you're only making 65K a year for it. So, but regardless, you already did that, so you just pay it back. Because you did that, because you use loans for that, now you're in the situation where you need to not be investing, and sorry, you're renting. No house until you are on step 3B, until you have paid off all these debts. That's $75,000, and then you have a 6-month emergency fund. It says 3 to 6, but if you are planning on having a mortgage, I do recommend 6 months, because houses do be having extra problems that you wouldn't have if you're a renter, because then you just call the landlord to fix it. And guess what? If you have a mortgage, you are the landlord. So thirsty. After I buy the house, I get to skip baby step 5, right? Yep. So you move to baby step 6. Absolutely. Yeah, any baby step that does not apply to you, you get to skip. The best one probably to be able to skip is step 2. Probably, but also step 5. I mean, college is not cheap. Obviously, Obvious Hedgehog 1609. I'm on the fence about whether to sell my car. I work really hard my whole life. No, get term life, not whole life insurance. To stay debt free, I paid cash for my first car and drove it for 7 years. I worked my bum off in college to pay cash for school instead of taking loans. Great. Then I started my first job in August 2023, making $90,000 a year, which is better than $65K for sure. In February, my old car started having issues, so I decided it was time to treat myself to a new one. Of course you did. You would not buy a new car even in cash because there's too much depreciation on it. In order for you to buy a brand new car, you should be a millionaire, meaning you have $1 million net worth. Before that point, you cannot handle as fast as they depreciate. So that would be a no. You can get a new to you car, but it can't be one brand new that nobody else has driven. No. And I mean, that's the short answer for anything that the average person wants to do. The normal stock Ramsey answer to that is no. That's dumb. So yeah, shouldn't have done that. Treat myself to a new one. Yep. Test drove a lot and decided I wanted a Subaru. A new Outback was $40,000. So I put down $25K and drove up the lot with a brand new car and only a $332 monthly payment. So again, if you don't want to do the baby steps, you don't have to do it. But baby step 0 is deciding to pay off your stupid debt. And, you were debt free until that. And you thought that was a good idea. But then all of a sudden, oh, I'm having problems with my car. I want a brand new one. I went to college and worked all through college and didn't get debt for college. So I deserve it. You deserve to not have any debt is what you deserve. I thought I had done pretty great. You didn't. Fast forward a couple months and I still love my car, but definitely regret not buying one that was a couple of years old and could have paid cash for. And guess what? The beauty of it is you can fix it by selling that car, and people never think that. It never occurs to people about that. I don't know why. Where we at? I could have paid cash for it. I still owe $12K and I'm sick of having a car payment. I was looking around, and if I sold my car, I could pay cash for something a little older. Yes, you could. My husband says I should just try paying the car off this year. Now, you can do that, but that's going to make your baby step voyage take longer. So you can certainly do that if you want. And normally, what I tell people when they're making a decision like this is, okay, then if you don't want to give up the car, then you have to give up other things that would be equivalent to that. So you got to give up a lot of other stuff then. If you're going in Starbucks every week or every day or anything like that, that would be a no. And so you got to cut out a lot of little stuff like that to make up for keeping this car. We have some extra money, and that's not it. That's not the baby steps either. As we found out previously, you do not. Which I don't know if this couple has their finances combined or not. It doesn't really sound like it, does it? But we don't have more than $1,000 while we have consumer debt, which a car financing is, car loan is. So you shouldn't have any extra laying around, but again, that may be his money. I don't know because they didn't say. Um, have some extra money, you can throw it the loan, and it would probably take me about 4 to 5 months to clear. Right. Okay. So you can do that, and again, you sacrifice in other areas by giving up other stuff. So what should I do? Sell the car and be out of it? I mean, this is up to you. This is where, if you can be done with it in 3 or 4 months, this all I can leave this decision up to you. But I would, again, if I was counseling this person, I would say, so I'm counting on you to get rid of some of the other luxuries in your life so you can have this luxury of a car that no one else has driven. So the choice is up to either one. Is fine with me. And I've heard them say, they've said similar on the Ramsey show. My husband also has 3 paid off vehicles, but it doesn't sound like he's willing to sell any of them. Okay. All right. Let's have a little water here before I freak out. Hold on one moment. Now I do get a little anxiety over some of these questions. But it's not like a Caleb Hammer freak out or anything like that. But it because he like, it seems like he like takes that on and like feels like he has the debt himself or that kind of thing. I don't do that. I have a problem where I'm thinking, what is happening in both of these people's minds, the husband and the wife, where they don't say, oh, husband has 3 vehicles, I could drive one of those. That didn't occur to anybody in that situation. I almost went into a little Sebastian Maniscalco there with the, aren't you embarrassed? Yeah, so why, if he has 3 paid off vehicles, why the heck didn't you drive one of those? That is so stupid. Why wouldn't that occur to you? I don't get it. So, yeah, so you can sell it and drive one of those, and then the situation would be taken care of now. Now, if that's the thing where, oh no, that's his cars, or I can't drive it for this reason or for that reason, or none of those vehicles are pretty, or any dumb stuff like that. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Quit being so picky. Start thinking logically. People have a hard time with that, especially when it's about their own finances. So, again, I'm fine with either way, but it's just really dumb as heck because the husband has 3 paid off cars. As last time I checked, he can only drive one at a time, I think, unless they have some other kind of thing where he can remote control drive one of them while he's driving the other. That is dumb as crap. Did I? Yep, switch to live chat. All right, we're good. Beautiful dot 6474, 15% towards retirement, but where? Any brokerage fund is fine. 36 years old with no debt other than my house. Great. Have a bait 20K in high yield savings account, 7K and 17K in checking, and 100K in CDs. That's dumb. CDs not recommended. I'm planning on cashing in CDs and starting a Roth IRA, okay? And also maybe a taxable brokerage account when they mature in the spring, okay? So you got to wait till spring, and that's the whole reason you don't do CDs, because they're timed instruments. You pay a penalty if you don't wait until the time that they mature. So that's why they are not recommended. Just put it in a savings account, dog. Put it in that high yield savings account. Are they making more than the high yield savings account does? Probably not. Um, so, and the best thing to do would have been to start the Roth IRA last year, meaning just, oh, what's today? The 17th, so like 18 days ago or so, somewhere in there, 20 days ago, to open up a Roth IRA. And then you could max that one out first, and you would have all the way up until April to finish maxing that out. And then as soon as you max it out, then you can switch to the 2025 contribution limit. But you didn't do that because you didn't think about it fast enough. Currently contribute 12% of 110K, so you need to do 15%. 12% of the 110K, I come with a 3%. It comes, I guess, with a 3% employer match. Simple IRA already sitting at about 84K. Does the 3% contribute to the 15%? No. So that's a lot of people, a lot of things people get, that's something a lot of people get mixed up as well. The employer match is just gravy on the biscuit. That's just extra. Dave wants you to put 15% of your skin in the game. So that means you put 15%. Any match is great. That's bonus. So yeah, you need to be putting all 15% in. So if you are doing that, is that a four? It doesn't say what that is. If that's a 401k. Doesn't say how much is in the 401k either. Unless the simple IRA is through the employer. I don't know. He's not giving the full information. So yes, you should do 15% on your own. Also, is there a recommended split between simple IRA and Roth IRA? No, Roth and taxable brokerage. Roth is always going to be you max that first. It's match, then Roth. Matches first because that's 100% rate of return, and you're not going to beat that. So definitely the match first, and then any type of Roth account. Roth 401k is fine. Or if and you can also have a Roth 401k and a Roth IRA. You can have a 401k and an IRA and do both. And so, but the Roth version of either one of those or both of them would be first. And you keep going until you get to the 15%. And then if you still have money left over to contribute, then that's when you would look for other investments, like maybe a high health savings account, HSA, because that's a tax deferred account. And you do have to have a high deductible health plan for that, to qualify for that. But what that allows you to do is put pre-tax and post-tax money in there, because it's tax advantage both ways. And so you can put that in the health savings account, and then you just cash flow any medical expenses and just leave the investment in there to grow. And so that's how you do. That's some of the richies do that for investing if they max out their other tax advantaged retirement accounts. And then after that, then that's where you would go to just a brokerage account, just a investing account that you pay taxes on both ways. You pay taxes on the contributions, and you pay taxes when you cash out as well. Let's see, I assume the tax advantage account first. Yep. But a majority of my CDs could go into the taxable brokerage. Let go of the CDs. I don't know how old this, 36 years old. CDs are normally an old person's game. So I don't know what the deal is, but some people get fixated on them for some reason when they normally don't make more than high yield savings accounts. So why would you bother? Some people, there's a finance guy named Ramsey, and I saw the first one of his. He had a new show out maybe a year ago or something, and I saw on the first one, he had the first or the second one, I can't remember. which episode of it was. I think I only watched 2 of those, or just the one. Anyway, on an early episode of that, again, his name is Ramit, Ramit. I can't remember his last name. He was counseling a couple, and the husband said he likes to put his money in. He had it in about 8 different banks around town. He said he likes to split it up around town because that way it seems like it's more. And again, what is happening in your brain that makes you think that makes you think that it being in a different place affects how the math adds up? And that would be a no. So I don't understand that thinking, and that does kind of give me a little bit of anxiety, because it's like, what in the world is happening in your brain that gets you to that spot? And I get it. Sometimes it's wishful thinking, for sure, on people's mind, especially if they read the baby steps and they don't want to do the baby steps, or they want to, say, for example, buy a house way too early while they have other debt, and then they're just doing it like as a protective device. They just don't understand on purpose. They're not under their subconscious is keeping them from understanding when they know darn well they're not supposed to do it. But then they ask anyway, and then they give their details, like their details of their little situation is going to change the Ramsey advice. It's not. You're either paused or you're doing the baby steps in the order they are in. Do I buy outright or finance? If you can buy your residence fully in cash, you would do that. Yeah. Mr. Ramsey's the no debt guy. Sure, he will not yell at you if you get a mortgage for a house you live in. No mortgages on rental property. That's a no. But yeah, his default advice is to pay for everything in cash, including a house. Now, most people can't do that, or it would take them many years to save up to be able to do that. So he will not yell at you for taking out a mortgage. And one of the reasons for that is that 99.9% of the time, the house is going to appreciate and be worth more money. It's not like you borrowing a car for a car loan or financing a car, and then the car is going to go down in value 100% guaranteed. It's not like you borrowing to start a business and then the business failing, which most of them do. So that buying a house is a little bit different on that. And that's why he doesn't yell at you. He'd still rather you pay full cash for it, of course. And again, you would not debt leverage, especially if you had $300,000 and you're buying a $300,000 house. You do not debt leverage your house to have that much in savings. That's a no. Again, inheriting a property that I have to sell due to my parents' poor money management. Okay, that happens. And hey, guess what they were doing? Guess what they were doing? They were keeping that property in order to have debt, to not pay off debt. They kept that property, so they were debt leveraging too. I will walk away with maybe, just walk away, Renee. You won't see me following you back home. We'll walk away with maybe $120K. I currently rent and want to buy a home for stability for me and my kids, all right? I'm torn between buying outright, feeling like a fool. That's another song. I can't, 70s, I think. I can find homes for 80 to 100K where I'm looking, or put a huge chunk down and finance the rest. No, if you have the cash, you would pay cash for it. Like half down, which could afford me a better home. If I don't spend everything on a house, I could invest the rest or put it into savings for emergencies. Well, your full emergency fund needs to be had and be separate from down payment. So you don't use your emergency fund as a down payment for a house because a house is not an emergency. So you don't do that, and so you're doing it wrong. I can afford to finance, pay the note on a home around 100 to 120K. Yeah, you can also afford to pay it off in full, which is the advice. If you have other debts, you would be paying those off first instead of buying a house again. What should I do? The sale. Well, I mean, you weren't living in the house. It was just one you inherited, but you do have to sell it, and so, but you are going to be getting some money out of pocket for that. So yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want, as long as you're on baby step, past baby step 3, which it doesn't sound like you are, because you don't have the emergency fund. You have to have the full emergency fund in place before you even think about buying a house. So it just depends on whether you have step 2 debt or not, consumer debt. And of course you don't have a mortgage already, so that would be the only debt that you would have. The sale of the home is approaching quickly, so I'm just looking for information on what I should do. I'm low income with 2 kids, 35K a year right now. That's not a lot. And so, I mean, you shouldn't be buying any more than about 100K house. Even if you are paying cash, you shouldn't be buying that much house. 5K saved. Again, doesn't say anything about other debt, so I don't know the full answer on this one. But you would avoid the mortgage. If you have the cash, you avoid the mortgage. You don't debt leverage in order to keep extra savings around. You have to have the full emergency fund, and I recommend 6 months of expenses if you're going to buy a house, as told previously on the Ramsey Show Aftershow show. Alrighty. Splitting mortgage in a relationship. Get married. Let's see. Pure profession. 1795. Splitting mortgage in a relationship. Please be respectful as I'm looking for guidance. If a partner was living with their significant other, not officially married, the advice would be to get officially married. What's the proper way to pay for the mortgage? Especially you get married. Especially since only one person's name is on a mortgage, you get married and have it in both people's names. Otherwise, it can turn into a crap show very, very quickly. Relationships are not guaranteed to always continue, unfortunately. Our incomes are the same. Would 50-50 be appropriate? Yes, it would. And combined in finances would be approved too, would be appropriate. If you were married, get married first. Should the mortgage holder pay for 100% and the other partner pay for other things like food? I mean, you can work out whatever you want to work out with yourselves. You guys have to do this, but the Ramsey advice would be not to do any type of this stuff, even living together at all, if you are not married. That would be a no, and you don't join finances. You don't do joint financial things together unless you are married. Have you not listened to the show and heard the calls where the relationship does not work out and this kind of stuff happens? I mean, they've had stuff happening where the mortgage was in one person's name and the deed was in the other person's name, and guess what? The person whose name the mortgage is in has to still pay the mortgage. I mean, they can try to sue the other person, that kind of thing, but yeah, that's why you don't do any of this crap. Don't do money stuff with friends or family. Don't do money stuff with anybody, really. Especially not friends and family. Except the lone exception is a spouse, someone that you are legally married to, because then both people have a little bit more protection that way. What time is it? Alrighty, I guess we'll call it for today. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Washington Commanders playing tomorrow night against the NFC number 1 seed Detroit Lions. Lions favored by 9.5 points or something like that. But Washington has beaten odds like that previously this year. So either way, working with house money because they had 4 wins last year. And they just won 1 playoff game last week, and now there's another one. Wrong page. What am I looking for? You're watching this on youtube.com/coachstevemoney. And for my other financial content, just scroll down past the Oak Island playlist and you'll see the Ramsey Show playlist, Aftershow show playlist, and the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist. And I may do a stream Sunday because there will be no football game for me to watch on Sunday. Not too interested in the other ones. Washington's playing Saturday night instead. So Sunday, 4 p.m., it could happen. And it'll be called Answering Your Financial Questions. And I won't talk about anything else. I'll just do questions immediately from the get-go. Well, I won't say I won't talk about anything else, but I won't do a market report and have news stories. I'll, of course, talk about anything. What I want to, maybe even sing some songs. Never know. Or parts of songs, rather. Not the whole thing. Wouldn't do that to you. Where I would give you whole songs would be in the music playlist, and that's 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there, like the aforementioned How to Do the Baby's Lives Right, and You Belong Debt Free, You Belong Debt Free. It's not T Swizzle version, that's Steve's version of that. Alrighty, final plugs. I am Coach Steve Money, my Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you, if you have financial problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation assessment with me at calendly.com/coachstevemoney. That link is in the ticker below and in the, what is that called? Show description, in the video description as well. That link is in there. Donations can go to, paypal.me/coachstevemoney. The email is coachstevemoney@gmail.com for any reason. Alternatively, CashApp for donations, $CoachSteveMoney, or Walmart gift card to, again, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams, the Ramsey Show Aftershow show, Monday through Fridays, except I missed yesterday because I was sick. Sorry about that. But normally it would be Monday through Friday until further notice, starting at 5:25 Eastern Time, right after the Ramsey Show leaves the YouTube to continue up its final portion exclusively on the Ramsey Network app. When it goes away from YouTube, that's when I take over. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day.